Welcome back, everybody. Frankenstein C20 here today. Take 3. Welcome back, everybody. Frankenstein C20 here today with a weekend update. Today being May 31st, 2025. Tomorrow we got scheduled a car show right around the corner and another one next week right around the corner that way. So I was going to go ahead and power wash the truck, get it all cleaned up and ready. So I decided, well, should I take a video or not? And I decided not to. So who really wants to watch a video about washing the truck? So I thought, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start it up a little bit, get it started, get it ready for tomorrow. Come out and started it. Didn't think nothing about it. Walked around the house, talked to my wife for a minute, and she says, I smell gas. And I said, well, I just filled up the power washer with gas. And I walked around here and I could really smell it really good. So looks like I got a leaky fuel line. The braided hose that I have there seems to have sprung a leak for whatever reason. So we're going to take a look at that here in a minute. And I've got more hose to replace it with, thankfully, here. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got here. Alrighty, so here we are back underneath the hood, and as you can see, it's pretty dusty just from sitting, because honestly, I've been driving that thing back and forth, doing work and doing its thing, and letting this one sit for a little bit. So yeah, she's a little dusty, and so if you look here, if you remember right, you know, we put the new fuel regulator and everything on here. And it seems to be this hose right here, that braided hose comes down. I got it clamped there, and then that's my incoming line right there, is what it is. Hits the filter and comes in. So yeah, that's my incoming line, and it sprung a leak right about there and right about in there. So yeah, good thing is we got all AN fittings everywhere. It's just real easy. So yeah, we're gonna try to go ahead and get this dismounted, and I got plenty of line left over from when I done this, so we're gonna go ahead and go with black nylon. That's what we got, and honestly, it's, you know, about 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. So this is what I got, and we're gonna do this and get her done, get it cleaned up, so I can get out there and go to the car show tomorrow. So yeah, so melted my paint off. Yeah, look at that, isn't that pretty? So good thing is though, I've got plenty of Rust-Oleum spray bombs to fix that. Yeah, melted it all off right here. You know, if you've watched any of the videos, when I painted it, I just spray bombed it, never hit it with no clear, haven't done anything with it. So due for some new paint. But what good thing is, I can go down to the hardware store and get 3 or 4 or 5 cans, whatever I need to do what I got here. But yeah, she was dirty. She's got to get a bath. You know, look at that. Just from sitting, we've had a lot of pollen. And yeah, so that's the plan. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this off here. We're gonna make up the lines And even if I just put the new line on in the morning, it's no big deal. Like I said, I just got a few clamps holding that line on, and it's just literally one fitting there, and down there at the feed line coming in. So simple AN fitting. All right, everybody, so we're back. We've got the fuel line off, and there's my fuel line that I'm gonna replace it with. And for some reason, if somebody can let me know in the comments if they've ever had these problem with these just springing random leaks. This thing was spewing out in 5 or 6 different places, it seemed like, because it left quite the thing there, and I think it was even squirting all the way over here, as you can see there. So, but yeah, so this is what we're going to do tonight. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to get this fuel line made up, put my fittings on this, cut the length, and then that is a clamp that I use, and I put it in there and I bolt it through that way, and it holds that intake part where it comes from the fuel tank in place perfectly right there on the frame. It bolts to the frame right there. So in that way, and then I got that other clamp right about there somewhere. But yeah, let me know in the comments how long these things last here, because that just sprung a leak. What is that, a couple years old? But well, actually it's about 1.5 years old. So I don't know, do they just not like being bent like that when they're the steel braided as opposed to the nylon braided? I don't know, but I'm glad it happened right here in my driveway. I got quite the gas mess here, as you can see, because I left this thing running for a while. So yeah, melted all my paint over here. So, but you know what, I don't really care, because last year we brought home the gold, and I really don't care. I'm just going to show up. We're going to get a lot of good content. We're going to have a lot of good vehicles on some video for you guys, so that's what counts. But we're going to get there. Like I said, I'm going to make that fuel line up tonight, and then come early morning when it gets daylight out here, I'll get this fuel line on here and get this thing running again. And that's the way I designed it, so that, you know, something like this happens, it's easy to fix from point A to point B. Down there's my feed line directly from the fuel pump, the electric fuel pump. You know, and then it goes to the fuel filter there, goes in fuel regulator right there. And of course, if you watch the other videos, that it goes through here, and yeah, she runs perfect. I'll probably go ahead tomorrow while I'm at it and maybe dial in the mixture now that we got it timed differently. I haven't done that yet, so we may go ahead and do that. I don't know, but my first order of business is we're gonna get a fuel line made tonight and get it popped in the morning. A couple wrenches, whatnot, but yeah, that's all right. Rust-Oleum and a spray bomb right there. So kind of why I did that. But yeah, I never had a chance to do any clear or nothing. I just spray bombed it as I went, and so yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and post this tonight. All right, everybody, so here we are. So you can see I got the new fuel line cut and our fittings on. This is just standard -6 fittings. I got the one elbow here, there, that goes on the supply line, comes up to the fuel filter, which I just got a straight fitting on it. And I've got my bracket there. I'm using that for a bracket, so that bolts to the frame. And then I've got the other little bracket that bolts to the battery tie down. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get off here for a minute and see if I can't get this hooked up real quick before it gets dark on me, so then I can give this thing a bath first thing in the morning and we can get down the road. I don't care about the paint. I just don't. So, but yeah, if anybody has any tips on why them things are spring a leak for no reason at all, you know, you would think the steel braided line would hold up. So anyway, it is what it is. That's why I went this system, because it's so easy to replace a line. You just swap your fittings out, you cut your hose to length, swap your fittings out. And this is what I've used to cut the nylon line with. Simple, what it's for is PVC pipe. Cutting PVC pipe, and it ratchets shut, you see. So as you're cutting, it locks down. So, and it cuts it just great. It gets it all the way down, and if you just rotate it a little bit and give it another snip or two, it lets loose. It leaves a good clean cut on this nylon. You can slip your first nut on there real easy, and you know, bam, bam. -6 for the fuel line. That's all I need on this. So anyway, we're gonna get this thing back together and get it running, and we're gonna see if we have any leaks. So we'll be right back. All right, everybody, so here we are. Got it done, finalized. Fuel filter. Got it clamped. And got the fitting together right down there, if you can see. Had a little bit of a leak, and just got everything tightened up really good now, so there's 0 leaks. So in the morning, all I got to do is give this thing a bath and go. But yeah, that's where we're at. Look at that. Easy fix though, whatever. It's just paint. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned up out here so I can get in and get this video loaded up. And I'm going to call it a day. So yeah, alright guys, thanks for tuning in, and see you at the car show tomorrow.